said, we discussed the real meaning of democracy, real democracy. But unfortunately, so far what we see, as shown in Arab Spring, about one person, one vote, a multi-party system, that's at best procedural democracy. That's not necessarily the real democracy. Real democracy is far more important, as you said, about education, about many other important ideals. China's experience can offer an entirely new alternative for those countries and nations who desire for quick modernization and complete independence.
大家好，你们认为民主到底是什么？西方所推行的一人一票就是民主吗？今天这期视频给大家带来的是9年前一场围绕中国发展道路、西方民主制度以及未来世界治理模式展开的激烈讨论。在这场访谈中，中国学者张维为与6位西方学者展开交锋，双方围绕中国发展模式、西方民主理念以及未来世界治理方向展开了一场针锋相对的思想碰撞。长期以来，西方世界普遍认为，民主的核心就是选举制度、一人一票以及多党竞争。但一个引发巨大争议的问题是，如果一个国家拥有选举，却无法解决贫困、失业、安全以及民众生活改善的问题，这样的民主是否真正代表人民利益？反观中国，并没有完全复制西方式民主模式，却在过去几十年里实现了快速发展，从一个曾经贫困落后的国家，到如今成为全球第2大经济体。中国数亿人的生活水平发生巨大变化，基础设施、教育、医疗以及社会保障不断改善，这也引发了争论。一个政府的合法性究竟更多来自选票，还是来自能否让人民过上更好的生活？如今，距离这场讨论已经过去多年。当年张维为提出的判断，哪些正在被现实验证？中国模式是否正在改变世界对现代化道路的理解？而西方民主制度又将如何面对自身不断出现的挑战？接下来，我们一起走进这场访谈。
With another prediction, 6 years and half ago, I said the United States and China both need political reforms. But in the case of China, small reforms have been going on all the time in the political system. We fix problems here and there. But I said the problem is the United States. Your political system was a product of pre-industrial era. And I made a forecast. I said, without significant, substantial political reform, my concern is in your next elections, you will produce a leader worse off than George W. Bush.
That's so then.
Yeah.
So it was you, it was not the Russians.
Yeah. So this is the Chinese humble advice we can offer. But China is a civilizational state. I remember when Henry Kissinger wrote his famous book on China, he started with this quote. He said, my goodness, look at this China. It's different. China used this unique language, which started 3,500 years ago. It's 1,000 years earlier than ancient Greek, 1,005 years earlier than ancient Latin. But these two European languages were dead languages. Chinese are still using the same language. This line of culture and continuation of civilization, uninterrupted. So this is why we have, indeed, for instance, this whole idea of meritocracy. Why I say confident? I said with my debate with Professor Fukuyama, I said, if you look at the top leadership in China, we've just had the party's Congress, minimum requirement, 2 terms of provincial governor or similar position, which means you have to govern at least 100 million people, given the size of China, before you came to one of the top 7 positions, decision-making bodies. I said to Fukuyama, I said, with this Chinese methodology, meritocracy-based system, we can say with certainty, we can improve the system. There are problems, we can fix it. But we will not produce any leaders like George W. Bush. It's way below the Chinese bar. That's my point.
I respect deeply, more than respect, I admire Chinese civilization. I admire Chinese history. I have been all my life an admirer of Chinese art. Since I was a very young man, China has been one of the compass of my life, but I don't admire your political system. And I find much more admirable and worth of respect a system when you have the right to make a strike, when you have the right to be paid decently, when you have the right to speak freely, when you have the right to not to be contaminated by terrible pollution, and so on. So I will not say, in the name of relativism and so on, that every political regime are equivalent. I don't believe so. I really think that Europe invented an idea which does not belong to Europe, that migrated to America, that has been adopted by a lot of parts of Latin America, that is incarnated in part of Asia, which is an universal idea, which is the idea of freedom, of equality, and so on. And China of today is not worshipping these values. And that's why I would be happy, I would not say that with surprise or not surprise, if there was one day a real Chinese Spring, a real cultural revolution, as the one I saw in my youth, of Chinese people saying it's good to have wealth, it's good to have gross product, it's good to have exportation, but it's good also to have human rights. I think that this would be a great news for humanity.
You said that Weiwei had this equivalence between political systems, but he does not have equivalence. He has a clear preference. He believes that authoritarian systems are superior to democracy. He explicitly said that democracy yields to bad governance, if I'm not mistaken. So my question to you, there are millions of people today in the world that live under bad governance systems, which are democracies. China has a different view, and therefore countries tend to be very tempted to export their models. They like to see what they do replicated elsewhere. So would you recommend to your government to go out in the world and promote what you think is good governance and less promote the cause of less democracy or non-democracy?
Actually, it depends on how do you define democracy. I like this Nexus Forum because you said at the very beginning, we discussed the real meaning of democracy, real democracy. But unfortunately, so far what we see, as shown in Arab Spring, about one person, one vote, a multi-party system, that's at the best procedural democracy. That's not necessarily the real democracy. Real democracy is far more important, as you said, about education, about many other important ideals. In terms of China, let me quote from everybody knows Confucius. Yeah. And he said, people are like water. Regime or leaders are like boat. Water can carry the boat, can also overturn the boat. So if you look at the China model in particular, the key message is stay in touch with your people. It's so easy. If you go to Africa, don't go there with your brilliant ideas. I respect your preference, it's understandable. But you do some surveys. What are they care about most? Fighting poverty, fighting disease, street security, safety, etc., job creation. You do this accordingly, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how China did.
Would you recommend the rest of the world to go that way? and repress the options that he described.
No, it's not his definition. It's really people should sit down and discuss what kind of political system
We're
with
doing
your
that.
people.
We're doing that.
Yeah, we should
So-
experiment. China offers an option, which is very interesting because we have the 4 decades of successful
And your
experience.
opinion is that China should export that view? Should
Xi Jinping
actively-
said in his report, China's experience can offer a entirely new alternative for those countries and nations who desire for quick modernization and complete independence.
And it's going to
Yeah.
be a state-supported export.
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
Actually,
No.
Chinese are very modest. I'm being slightly less modest. China do not export its model, do not advocate its model. But once you're successful, if you go to Africa, people talk about looking east. They have tried the Western model for decades, not working, So look to the east.
May I just
Yeah.
talk here about
Great.
about the oppressed Muslim minority? So don't tell me that everybody is fine. There is an oppressed minority in China. And then I want to bring up something else here with it, in terms of terrible things that are happening today, like in Syria. And it's what is happening to the Rohingya Muslims. And the way I look at it is I thought it was never again. And to me, never again meant a Muslim or a Christian or Jewish or Yazidis or black or white or any color. But today we are seeing a genocide. And I don't see, China has also quite a lot of influence in a place like Burma, like Myanmar. Apart from, I don't want to even talk about North Korea, but I don't see anybody doing anything for the Muslims in Myanmar or the Muslims in China.
Let me answer you this question first.
Yeah, no, because I do believe it's important, because, that you know, because I do believe we go in a conversation in which you are saying how good you are, we're saying that you're not very good. But in a certain way, the problem is that part of the Western democracy is also a problem today is that we lost curiosity on the others. Obviously, China's legitimacy is not based on caution only. And if we're not seeing this, we're basically playing a game. But on the other side, I do believe what you're also giving is a totally uncritical story, because every political regime is successful under certain conditions and not others. I do believe one of the biggest problems that we have, we forgot what are the real advantages of democracy. The real advantage of democracy is not simply rights, but this is that when people are disappointed, you're giving them a mechanism through which they can react. Democracy is not famous for doing the right things, but democracy is famous for changing the governments that people don't like without violence. My question is the following. The Chinese system at the moment, in my view, works fine based on an incredibly important economic performance. How strong is the system if economic performance is not there? So if we want to be serious, we should be open to the vulnerability of both regimes, because otherwise we go in a rhetorical story, which probably good opera performance, but it is not helping us more. And just on Bernardo Levi, I do believe that the Spanish government should be very happy that you went to Kurdish regions and didn't end up in Catalonia at the same moment.
And I think that China will not go so far as you think, and maybe as China deserves, if she stays on this path. If you really believe that the Rohingya problem is a problem of faith, if you really believe that the Uyghur problem is a problem of religion, it means that really your leadership has not understood how really a great power has to work in order to succeed, because it is a human rights question. It is a democratic subject, and it is not NGOs of the West who are, this is a plot theory, it's absurd. It is people who are in despair. The Rohingya, it's a terrible, nobody knew. No, let me finish. Nobody knew in the West, except a few of us, who the Rohingya were. They are the most miserable people in the world. They have no rights. They have nearly no identity.
Have you been to that region?
No identity.
Have you been to this region? I've been there many times.
Of course I have been.
You have to see the rapid rising standards of people's life.
I have been. Alas, I am elder than you. And I went to this
It's not
area.
age of age.
No.
It's whether you can seek truth or
I
facts.
went in this
With
area.
all these surveys, I'll give you another figure.
I spent my
The
youth.
latest
Between Bangladesh and Burma. I know exactly what is the fate of a cursed Muslim people in this environment.
But
I
impose
know
a system
who the
only creates more
Rohingyas are.
disaster.
I know that they are man deprived of any rights. And I know that in front of that, you cannot feel something else than despair. And they are despaired. And that's why they revolted. And the way in which they are treated is scandalous. Okay, mind your own business first. I don't agree.
It's 89% versus 12% satisfaction.
Who dares to speak in China anyway?
You know really too little about China. Little knowledge is dangerous. We have 130 million visits abroad, 3 million students
abroad. Don't attack me about my knowledge, because that's not the right way to go about it.
Even with that, we cannot agree to your interpretation.
I would like to bring in something different.
回看这场9年前的辩论，双方争论的其实并不仅仅是中国和西方谁更优秀，而是在讨论一个更深层的问题：一个国家究竟应该用什么标准衡量成功？是看制度形式，还是看治理结果？是看人民手中的一张选票，还是看普通人的生活是否真正得到改善？张维为认为，世界上不存在唯一的发展道路，不同国家有不同的历史、文化和社会条件，衡量一个制度是否有效，关键在于它能否解决现实问题，让人民获得更好的生活。而西方学者则强调，民主不仅意味着经济发展，更意味着个人权利、自由表达以及监督政府的能力。任何制度都不能忽视这些价值。这场争论持续至今，也依然没有一个简单答案。事实上，任何制度都有自身优势，也面临不同挑战。一个国家既需要提升经济发展水平，也需要不断完善治理体系，既要关注社会稳定和发展效率，也要思考如何保障个人权利和公平。9年过去，世界格局正在发生巨大变化，中国的发展速度、科技进步和国际影响力不断提升，而西方国家也面临政治分裂、社会矛盾以及治理挑战。那么，当我们重新回看这场辩论，究竟应该如何评价不同国家的发展道路？中国模式是否证明现代化并不只有西方这一条道路？未来的世界会走向一种制度竞争，还是不同文明之间的相互借鉴？也许真正值得思考的问题不是谁一定正确，而是一个好的制度最终应该为谁服务？它是否能够让更多普通人获得更好的生活？对于这场跨越东西方的思想碰撞，你认为张维为的观点更有说服力，还是西方学者提出的问题更值得关注？欢迎在评论区留下你的看法。